usual. Is there a message that you can share with us that you wanted them to receive?
No, I just think there's conversations that need to be had. Normally, I like to just let the emotion pass and have conversations the following day. But tonight, I thought that, we needed to have a little deeper discussion. You know, things are easy when things are good. Things become a little more difficult when things are hard. And our response to that is important. And so we just wanted to have a discussion about that, about the grit that we need to play with all the time, about the confidence we need to play with all the time, and, believing in what we're doing and believing in ourselves through the good times and the bad times.
Coach, as far as your play, it seemed like you couldn't quite get into a consistent rhythm throughout the game. Would you attribute that to the Pacers defense, or was that more so you guys still trying to get into a consistent flow of your system and them learning the system?
I give the Pacers credit because they are disruptive with how they play, the physicality that they play with. They're active. They've got good size and strength and length in the rim, in the paint. But also some of it has to do with us. And that was the message, that to our guys is like, we have to do things decisively. We can't be hesitant. We have to do things full speed going forward and make those decisions going forward. If we make mistakes in those moments, as a staff, we're good with that. But you just can't be hesitant because you put your teammates in a bind and you give the defense an advantage when you are.
And last one for me, Coach. In the fourth, your team went on a 10-0 run to cut it to 12. What was the difference that you saw in their play at that point that you maybe lacked earlier in the game?
It was, the competitiveness that we talk about, and that's it. You know what I mean? There was a will to want to get the job done. In these last two games, we've allowed the first quarters to impact us throughout the game. Again, you go back and look at it. We had open shots. We had shots that we didn't take, and then we had bunnies at the rim that we didn't finish. And that carried over, into other things. And, it's when we won our first three games, we were still a work in progress. We made those mentions of, we're not where we're going to be a month from now or 2 months from now. And the most difficult thing is to build trust through losses, right? Because you start to get down and now it's questioning of what we can and what we are capable of. We've got to get to a point where our belief is so strong that we know that even during difficult times, we're going to be okay. And that takes time together. That takes experience together. But the only way that it happens is together. It can't happen individually.
Fedor?
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. JB, what did you least like about the way that the team responded to adversity?
Again, there was doubt. There was self-doubt. There was doubt as a unit. There was doubt as a team. And you can't survive playing against good teams without that belief. We have good players. They are extremely talented. They would not be here if they weren't. When they play together with confidence and belief, they can be a good basketball team. And that's where we have to get to. But it takes us time. It takes experience. It takes going through these things and these moments because it is so new. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you if we've had 5 days of practice that our entire team has been available. So it's going to take us time to get there, but we just have to make sure we give it a shot.
You mentioned the other night that you wanted your guys to feel this. You wanted them to play through it and learn from it. Can it be a negative learning process if they go through it and they don't handle it the way that you want them to or they should?
No, because at some point you're going to get out of it. You have to get out of it, right? If you keep going through this experience and you don't learn what it takes to change these outcomes, then you're not in the right business. That means, you're not doing the right things. And, to me, at this point, it's not about the results, right? We are still working to become a team. With guys being in and out, putting in a new system, like we're still working to be a team. And I think people throw that word around loosely, but a bunch of dudes in a locker room doesn't make a team, right? It's that connectedness, that trust and belief in one another that comes with time and experience together. And those are the good teams. And that's what we're working to be.
Kelsey?
Kelsey Russo, The Athletic. JB, can a lesson also be how to handle the frustration of when games aren't going, your way and, calls aren't going your way, et cetera, that the guys still need to work through and learn how to handle those moments?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I'll take responsibility for that. We should not have 3 technicals in a game, right? Calls may not go our way, but us, having been here for a while, being veterans in this, like we can't afford to get those technicals. Those are momentum changers. There's a time and a place, but we need to make sure we keep our composure so that we can go out and get the job done.
And Colin and Darius combined for 49 points again tonight. On a night where your bigs aren't necessarily having as much success at the rim as usual, how does their production just kind of help as a groundwork for the team or just kind of help in their progress going forward?
Well, we need it. When they have the ball in their hands as much as they do, we need them to be productive. So sometimes, taking the shot makes the big's job easier. Whether he gets it up soft on the glass and it goes in, now the defensive big has to step up the next possession. Now the play goes to the big. We take the shot, we miss the shot, our big is an offensive rebounding position. So sometimes their scoring or shot taking is the right decision and the right play for the team. And it helps to loosen up the defense. We just have to work through those progressions.
Spencer?
Spencer Davies, basketballnews.com. JB, when it comes to that indecision that you're talking about, do you have a theory as to why they've allowed that kind of doubt to seep in? Because of the positive strides that we saw last week and even during preseason, it's just a little bit off to see that type of play from them when they know what works.
Yeah, but again, when it's new to you, and you've done something a certain way for so long and you've had great success at it individually, and then you come into a new situation and you're doing some things differently and you're being asked to do things maybe differently. When you're in those moments, there's a part of you that wants to go back to what you know, right? And what has made you an NBA player and a really good NBA player, a high draft pick, on and on. So there is that moment where, you've got those voices in your head that you have to fight through those voices and get to a place where we're so comfortable and we're so deep in belief and trust that we know that this is where we go to and we know that this is what works. And, 2 weeks isn't enough time. We'll get there. I believe that we'll get to that point. But it's going to take us some downs for us to get there, to get down, get back to doing what we do, see success come from that, then the belief starts to trickle further.
And then just a quick question about the last couple of games. The perimeter defense seems to be letting you guys down a little bit. What's the best way that you can kind of get the guys out there and contesting those shots? Because it seems like that's not been happening the last couple.
Certain areas of the floor, some of those shots fall on us as a staff and the systematic approach that we're taking. Some of them are, we need to make guys feel us more. What we are discovering in our conversations with our guys Like, we are extremely fortunate to have two of the best rim protectors in the league behind us. So in some instances, the best thing to do is just get up all over the guy and make him put the ball on the floor and drive in there to those guys. And again, that's something that we have to get used to. Being in, a long time, if you think about it, like over these 9 months or whatever it's been, how many guys really played defense over these 9 months? So we got to get used to getting into the ball, picking people up, trusting the people that are behind us. And right now, we're just not there enough. We're not making them feel us enough. We have to improve on that.
Last one, Chris.
JB, do you have a time frame of when you believe you'll be at that point that you want to be at with this group?
I mean, it's hard to say, Chris. With guys being in and out and things changing kind of, by the minute, it's a little bit difficult to say. The spirit and of what we're trying to do, I expect to come more quickly than the execution of it, because the execution of it should take a little bit more time. Again, I believe our guys are completely bought into what we're trying to do. But we just have to continue to do it. And we have to face tough times and learn from tough times in order to get through it. No good team, was it ever easy for them right away? You know what I mean? Like, there have been those all-star groups of teams that have been put together, and they've struggled in the beginning to figure it out, right? It takes time. So our expectations are it's going to take some time. But, the level of competition, the level of fight, the level of grit, those are decisions that we make every morning when we step out of bed. So my expectation is that those continue to go higher and higher, and then